But nonetheless, what it did was plant a seed that later on we all understand will grow into the modern Middle East that we have today. There's also that one other little element that, of course, plays a role in this story. We mentioned it a little bit ago, that turns this region from, what you easily could have suggested might be a backwater in the middle of nowhere after the war was over, with some important religious sacred sites and whatnot, but not much going on in the way of resources or value or anything where the great powers on the world stage would care much for this area, and instead transforms this region into perhaps the most strategically valuable spot on the planet. It's because all of a sudden the world realizes the importance that oil and petroleum is going to play in the 20th century world. And everybody sort of realizes it at the same time. It's one of my favorite parts of the First World War story, too. It's so hard to figure out what people knew when. There had been visionaries all throughout the development of the 20th century realization that oil was going to be huge. When they start pumping this stuff in the 1840s, 1850s, 1860s, in a bunch of different places, and refining it, and the main reason it's important in the 1800s, remember the 1800s is part of the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was a revolution that functioned mostly with coal as the energy source, although steam was also used. The people that are making the decisions in the First World War are going to be men in age groups who grew up in a world powered by coal and steam. Oil was becoming quite valuable, but for different reasons than energy. Well, I guess you could still say it was energy. It was an illumination source in a lot of places. They used it for light. They also used it for lubrication and oil. But people did not foresee what maybe you could call the vehicular revolution that the First World War would so plainly sort of put on steroids. It was coming anyway. The war tends to speed up technological progress because, well, it's life or death. One of the famous stories of the First World War is the famous Battle of the Marne story at the taxicabs of Paris lining up to ferry troops to the very hot spot on the battlefront that was in near danger of breaking. This is all a romantic story that helps illustrate one of the really early trends in the First World War, the use of vehicles, to change the situation on the battlefield. For all human history, men have either been walking themselves or utilizing, natural animal power. In this battle, they were starting to use things that were powered by gasoline. And we would go from cars and taxi cabs to trucks to tanks. We'd have aircraft. Try to imagine, and I'm sure Leonardo da Vinci could do a great sketch of it in the Renaissance, but try to imagine aircraft that were coal or steam powered. You kind of needed this dense, portable energy source that became part of internal combustion engines, and all this stuff sort of happened during the war. The visionaries had been people like Churchill, who had said, convert the British fleet to oil burning instead of coal. He was ahead of his time. In 1908, the British government was making deals with an oil company in Iran